Hey guys, first thing I want to do, I want to wish everybody a happy Mother's Day. My wife Becky, my mom, both my mother-in-laws, happy Mother's Day. Second, I have a special request. I need everybody to share this video. I'm pretty much going to need the power of social media to elevate my message today. This is pretty much the Jerry Maguire moment of my life. I've been playing something close to the vest, and pretty much time to let it fly. Last 6 years obviously been a whirlwind. A lot of you guys get a glimpse of it on social media, but there's a lot to the story that most people don't know. Something else that all of you know is I used to drink a lot. Not going to go into that, maybe one day, but that's not the purpose of today. But with all that drinking, everything in my early 20s, everybody knows I got in a lot of trouble. At the time, I thought it was pretty funny. But I long ago stopped laughing. It's not funny at all. Back up a little bit. Becky and I, we started dating last year at Auburn, 2005. Later that year, she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, had radiation, had to end up taking her thyroid out. We were young and invincible at the time, so didn't really contemplate the ramifications. But we got married a couple years later, and a couple years after that, all our friends started having kids. We decided to do the same. But it didn't happen that way. Without the thyroid, it was like banging our head against the wall, trying to knock down the wall. We didn't have the money for in vitro, and we weren't really a fan of that, and so we opted to go the adoption route. Halfway through DHR in Shelby County, my criminal record came up, and they pretty much laughed us out of the building. So we couldn't really do anything. We couldn't adopt, and it was all my fault. The only thing that we could do was distance from that, and time, my stupidity, and it was a real painful time, especially for my wife. So life went on. I finished school again. We moved off to Dallas. We decided to about 10 years later try the adoption thing again. I had to pull my FBI background report and dive into it all over again. I had to relive all of it. And at that point, I pretty much have it memorized. Not that I ever forgot it. But finally, we got the green light, got matched with birth mom, and chaos started. 3 months premature, 2 months in the NICU. They were born at 2 pounds. They finally came home with us a couple months later, right around our anniversary, April 28th, our 11th anniversary at the time. So we went back to Dallas. We shut down, moved back to Birmingham. Be closer to family, but everything changed. Pandemic hit the next month or the next year. So, but we didn't really get to do parents like most people do, and the triplet parents know that. There was no trading off of nights. It's every 3 hours we're up and going through the process: bottle time, diaper time, playtime, bedtime. There was no REM sleep at all for about 4 or 5 months. Finally, about July, I ended up on a work trip to get out with a couple of my brothers, and on the way back, we drank a few beers. Got home, wanted some more, so just walked to the gas station. I don't drive after drinking. Alabama taught me that. So I was walking back with a 12-pack underneath my arm, unopened. Gardendale First Baptist Police Department, harasses people like that, if there's alcohol involved. So they ended up throwing a disorderly conduct charge at me. That was the catalyst for a different examination. Is this the kind of father I want to be? Kind of husband? Dealing with cops, hangovers, fines, the health sucks. So that was the catalyst for change. It was 5 years ago today, Mother's Day weekend 2019. I gave up my beer. Not a sip since then. I'm not going to again. Best Mother's Day gift I could ever give my wife. So our life is so different now, and for the better of it. It just can't be compared. But that kind of leads me to my point today. Not very many people know I'm actually a historian. That was my undergraduate degree from Auburn. I saw a band of brothers. I switched over to history from business. Finally graduated a little late. 3 semesters of history, and I was out. Been studying it ever since. I have hundreds, thousands of World War II books. I went to Normandy, been to Bastogne, memorial cemeteries. But in 2021, our country executed one of the most embarrassing chapters of our military history. Pretty much abandoned Afghanistan. You know, we fled from Bagram under the cloak of night, gave the very leaders who shielded bin Laden, we gave them their country back, and they're the guys who rule today. So we could score arbitrary political points at home that nobody cared about. 13 Americans died, basically spit on the graves of 2,500 American soldiers that died over there. I was just furious because that's not who we are, and that's not how we do things. You know, we don't run from anybody. So sat down at my computer. I was going to rant about it on Facebook. People might remember my rants from over the years. And it hit me that just wasn't going to accomplish anything. Who am I to speak on it other than Bobby Joe? You know, what am I trying to accomplish? So I did what most rational 40-year-olds do. I decided, you know what, screw it. I'll be part of the solution. I'll try to join the National Guard. So I deleted my Facebook, got to work. You know, I had a lot of battles to conquer. You know, there was my age, my criminal record, my pitiful fitness. But reclaiming my health was what I thought could be the worst thing that could happen, which is good. But, you know, I was totally wrong about that, and we'll get to that. You know, basically spent a year getting at it, 2 a days, 3 a days. Most days starting at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Pandemic was pretty bad to me. Had a torrid love affair during the middle of it, trapped in our house. Her name was Bluebell. So we dropped from 287 to 208. A year later, Becky was kind of suspicious of me shielding my phone's text to the recruiter, you know, shielding my text, getting in shape. You know, wasn't the ideal viewpoint from your wife. But, you know, she was on board. She was like, okay, you know. So I reached out to the recruiters, totally upfront about everything. My FBI background report, I sent them the copy, everything. And they said I could join. The focus on the whole soldier. And so much of it, you know, so long ago. And I was like, all right, great. So I started putting all the pieces together. Finances, got the green light from my job, insurances, you know, everything's set. Took the ASVAB, you know, at Thanksgiving. Pretty much blew my recruiter's mind. And that's when everything went sideways. Suddenly my recruiter started ghosting me. Okay, that's great from our military leaders and people. But, you know, I finally copied her boss on it. It's amazing what kind of response you'll get when you do that. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Reese. I really didn't dig into all that stuff that you sent me. So sorry about that. Thank you. Bye. You know, I write back protesting, you know, and a warrant officer had been on the chains, you know, chimes in, misspelled my name. So that was really insightful and professional. There's no C in my last name. My last name's in my email address. Says, there's too much baggage for you to overcome. I'm like, all right, so only avenue I have is for help from my congressman. All right, cool. So that's exactly what I did. I wrote letters to 4 of them where I, you know, explaining how I have a life connection to their district, you know, including personal anecdotes of each, you know, to build rapport, requesting their help, you know, and you know what? Not a single one of them responded. I even checked the little box, says, hey, I do want to reply. So nothing. I see all 4 of them always talking on the rounds, talking about the military, and here I am getting ghosted by them. You know, my representatives in Congress, people that I voted for the people, by the people, right? Coach Tuberville, I played for you, you know, just for a couple months, but, you know, you think I'd get a reply, you know, to that somewhere. Katie Britt, my brother, he was at Alabama with you. He played ball with your husband for years. No response. You know, Gary Palmer, I live in your district. I have most of my life. Shelby County, Jefferson County, nothing. Mike Rogers, spent 6 years at Auburn. Spent my teens, 20s at Lake Martin. Becky and I married in Lake Martin. Powerful chairman of the House Armed Services Committee. Nothing. All 4 of them ignored me. Military. They champion it on TV in front of the cameras. Seems some folks forgot that it isn't words, but your actions define who you are, okay? Just always on TV. I don't know why I should have expected anything different. You know, we all see the shit show of what American governance is today. You know, so life goes on again. 2 or 3 days continue. I don't give up. Getting bigger, stronger, faster, more endurance. You know, doing everything that Stu Smith at military.com said to be the best, to be elite, to do everything that everyone else does occasionally. You know, I'm a student of history. I've read every article available on what's going on in the recruiting crisis, Ukraine, Taiwan, the tragedy of Israel. I remember as a child, I didn't understand why people hated the Jewish people, God's chosen people. But these days we teach our children to hate everything about our own country. And then we have faux shock when the mob turns against us on our college campuses. Oh, I don't understand why. Okay. But history repeats itself and everything's resetting right now in this moment. And we got to support Israel every step of the way. October 7th was 9/11 for them. How would we have acted in 2002 if Israel turned their back on us because there were some civilians dying? Absolutely not. I will stand with the people of Israel forever. They deserve it. Hamas rules the Palestinians. That's their leaders. Nations, they rise and fall based on the decisions of their leaders. And now they're feigning ignorance. We didn't, they're not our leaders, there's like 1945 Germany all over again. The Allies are just sweeping across Germany in the Ruhr, and they can't find a single Nazi anywhere. Everybody's like, oh no, we're innocent. We didn't do anything wrong. Okay, you were complicit in the guilt of your leadership. You put them there one way or another. You can't just go wah when the reaper comes for what is owed. Okay, that's a fact of life. You do something wrong. For every action, there's a reaction. You went in and killed 1,200 people in Israel, and you don't think they're going to come back for vengeance? We did the same. Killed our people in Pennsylvania and Washington, in New York. And what we do? 3 weeks later, it's bombs over Kabul. Why should we expect anything different? The Palestinians are using their own people, as shields to protect themselves from what is due. I don't understand how, our cowardice and our weakness emboldens our enemies, and we just allow it to happen because we want to give in to these mongrels out in the far left who are just doing everything they can to destroy our country. They just need to be put on a boat and sent out to sea. I don't have anything for them. Nobody does. But if we speak out, we're a bigot, we're a racist, we're a homo hater, whatever. No, we just don't like idiots. They're everywhere among us these days. We just have to tune them out. We live in a time where every one of our adversaries, all across the world, they're emboldened by the void of American leadership. And they're rearming right now. And while they're doing that, what are we doing? Arguing about the legality or morality of castrating our own children, of killing our own babies. Something really to argue about. Which bathroom to use. That's a good one. We've been so lulled to sleep by the perception of our own safety here that we've let down our guard. We've let millions and millions of who knows who run just all across our country. Our citizens are dying from rape and murder. Lake and Raleigh, just a vivid example, just in the state, a couple hundred miles to my east. Why do we think we're so safe? Why? Are we? Our enemies can fly over our airspace from coast to coast without us even knowing. And without us even doing anything about it, because it might something might fall and hurt somebody, so we'll just let them fly over our military bases. We're not going to have the capacity. We're not going to have a year or two to just build up our capacity like we did in World War II. Blitzkrieg 2024, 2026, or whatever. It's going to have it has had 80 years of refinement. Proper management of any situation requires to hope for the best while planning for the worst. Are we doing that? My greatest fear, one of them, I don't fear very many things, is that we're so wrong, and right now, in the shadows, the table's being set. So, after being ghosted, my approach was to stay in shape, just in case something happens. I'm an able-bodied man. It's at the end of the day, Generation Z hasn't really shown the capacity to lead. I think they're kind of having a little bit of an identity crisis. So a couple months ago, a new recruiter, actually reached out to me. Again, rekindled the fire, because my recruitment's still open at my request, because it was actually frozen at age 41 when I was still, before the age deadline. So she reached out, and we went back and forth just a couple of times, and then she disappeared. So that's the second time that I've been ghosted. Well, third time, including our politicians. So government is just a bunch of ghosts pretending to do their jobs. That's 0 for 3, okay? But that's what's led me here today. I'm sick of it, and so, I'm gonna call them out, okay? Basically, the foundations of peace all across the world are buckling. And at the worst possible time, our military is contracting. And they say they can't figure out why. Oh, well, it's this, it's that. It's a combination of factors. I'll tell you why. They do know because they have the data, but they won't tell you why. That's why they're hiding all their numbers. They're hiding the regional recruiting numbers specifically, because it would justify a political narrative of one group pushed by, that happens to be their opponent. So they, but of course they say it's not influenced by politics. Okay. The sons of the South, they're not signing up, in the most fertile recruiting region, as they have in the past. I wonder why. Do you know? I'll tell you why. You attack our faith. You attack our family. You attack our flag. And you attack our freedom. And you expect people to sign up for the things that they fight for when you're attacking it and taking it away? You've taught an entire generation of Americans to hate their country. And now you want them to do something for you, the group that they hate. Surprise. Fight for what? Basically we've always had our heroes, from World War II to Korea, to Vietnam, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, global war on terror. Courage, inspirations for all of us. But what's the chivalrous image that comes to mind today? This. A political pawn gifted a 4-star pension for life on our dime. That's what our youth see today. They look at our military and that's what they see. And they're like, why do I want to be a part of that? The answer is they don't. Perception will always overrule your spreadsheets. Race, gender, all that crap, none of it's supposed to matter. Everything related to the military is supposed to be based on merit, have nothing to do with politics. Absolutely nothing. I think Coach Tubbs said it best. I want it to be based on merit. I want our military to be the best. I want the best people. I don't care who they are, men, women. It doesn't make a difference. Well, Coach, here's your second chance. I am one of America's best. And I come to you now, and I'm asking for your help. Boy Scouts and rainbows won't conquer the challenges our country faces today all across the world. We shouldn't kid ourselves. The delusion of deterrence, it failed. The illusion of standards in our military, as soon as something bad happens, it'll drop. I've seen the good in our people. I've done the bad and I've done the good. I know which is right and wrong. So I need you to help me help you. I'll give you a glimpse of what I can do. It seems most of our young bucks can't. I'll go get warmed up again real quick. All right, so this right here, 340 pounds deadlift for the ACFT, Army Combat Fitness Test. This is a $1 billion fitness test trying to prove that men and women are physically equal. I want to redo it again because they're finding that man equals woman equals null from a statistical perspective. So what we'll do, now that we're warmed up again, 340 pounds, 3 times. All right, that was 6. I can do more. All right, so there you go. I can do the same on 3 of the other 6 events. So that's push-ups and the 2-mile run, the 2 endurance events. I've still got some work to do. Score would be about a 580, 590. Our military's been facing the worst recruiting crisis, almost half a decade of failure. Basically a detrimental compound effect that we hadn't even felt yet, year over year. And our response? Let's give all the recruiting leaders extensions. We'll just give them more money. We'll just throw more money of other people's money, at a problem, without them truly understanding why they can't get our guys in uniform. They established fat camps, summer school, for like half the recruits, because the social experiment of our federal education system has failed our children. In Chicago, they want 150 grand to be a teacher with no accountability. 80% of the kids can't read at the 8th grade level. They want $12,000, $13,000 a month salary. No accountability, no leadership. Now, I'm sure our recruiting leadership doesn't appreciate my characterizations, but like Dennis Green says, it is what it is. We are who we are. When you're talking about putting the best in uniform, I don't think you meant, everybody who gets 50s on the ASVAB and, 50s on the fitness test. So this is where I'm at. 43 years old, but according to recruiters, I'm still 41. So that's frozen in time. I have a bachelor's degree. I have an MBA. I have a second master's. I was halfway through at the University of Alabama. The girls were born premature right in the middle of that, so I had to withdraw. I had a 4.0. Just before our Disney trip in spring break, my 2-mile was 15 minutes. My 5-mile was 43 minutes. My 12-mile ruck with 40 pounds, that was 222. My endurance is what I'm about to focus on, so those are going to get even better. I have 1 criminal incident in the last 17 years, a disorderly conduct. They're holding me account for my minor possessions of alcohol in the last millennium, along with a couple others from the last millennium. It is 2024. I have 3 major infractions. 2 I can't do anything about. Irresponsible, ignorant, stupid. It was me. I was influenced in the wrong way, and that's my fault, and that's my cross to bear. But the 3rd one, possession of paraphernalia. I was caught with a nickel bag of pot in 2002, I think. A nickel bag of pot. I did smoke in college. I don't smoke anymore. I did inhale. I did enjoy it. Okay? No amount of research in today's science. Trust the science, they say. The very person who caused COVID, it was celebrated as the hero. He funded it himself. He approved it. And then the cat let out of the bag and you guys made him the hero. Trust the science, they say. Here's my science. The worst hangover I ever had in my life, I couldn't keep any water down. I couldn't keep any food down. I was just wrapped around the toilet of my own doing. And then I smoked a bowl and I was cured. No amount of science can argue about what I see with my eyes and what I felt with my body. 24 states in our country, over 50% of our population. I added it up, 176 million of the 334 million. It's over 50%. You can recreationally smoke pot in our country. 38 states of 50. That would approve an amendment to the Constitution, by the way, for you historian non-scholars. Have medical marijuana on the books. When will our country give up on the charade? I've always had one thing that has guided me besides God. But the way I look at it is, if it happens natural in nature, then it should be legal. If I can take pot seeds and throw them right over there and they grow, it should be legal. The other stuff, the chemicals, all that, no, man, it's not natural. Okay? So When are we going to stop the charade? When's the ATF just going to say, you know what, why don't we just regulate and tax this? We can raise an extra $5 billion in revenue and figure out some other way to just waste it. Why don't we just do that? And stop pretending to throw us all in jail for nothing other than, you know, a few $100s in fines and stupid stuff. When are our political leadership going to actually have the courage and the moral fortitude to ignore the stupidity that is? Our own Senator Fetterman of Pennsylvania said recently that no American should be negatively impacted on a marijuana charge. And here it is today. I can't join the military because I have a paraphernalia charge. So where do we go from here? I get it. I understand. I made mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, almost all of which were decades ago. I was in the wrong, in public and on social. I was oblivious to the divide and conquer nature of our politicians, where they turn brothers against brothers for their votes, for their greed and their addiction to power. Addition by division, they say. Just gaslighting and spinsmanship. We have to come together, and this is my attempt. I paid my debts to society: time, financial resources, emotional pain. What didn't kill me made me stronger and the man I am today. And I need your help to continue being 1% better today than I was yesterday. We'll go back to the recycled slogan from my childhood: to be all I can be. Together we win. Onward we roar. And remember, we are the lions. Let's see what happens. Thanks, guys.